We said goodbye to some beloved characters this week on Devs. Just kidding, there are no beloved characters on this show. But we did say goodbye to some characters, assuming that the future is predetermined. But is it? Am I destined to say these next words, or am I not destined to say these next words? Who knows? We'll find out. So I'm going to get into Devs Season 1, Episode 7, my review of that in just a second. But if you're new to the channel and if you're interested in seeing my review of the finale, as well as reviews of other new shows such as Miss America, Defending Jacob, and Killing Eve Season 3, I highly recommend subscribing to the channel so you don't miss a thing. I think you'll find something to like here. So getting into Devs. I liked this episode a lot. I thought that it had a pretty good balance of thrilling moments and depth. But I will say, while there wasn't really any flaws, I didn't see any flaws myself in this episode. I feel like it drew my attention to some flaws in this season as a whole. Now, obviously, I had mentioned in my last review that I thought that they were probably going to have Kenton kill Jamie, and sure enough, the minute this episode started and Lily and Jamie were finally chatting like lovers, and they had that sense of familiarity that had really been lacking in their relationship so far this season, I was like, he's a goner. And sure enough, Kenton showed up and mercilessly put Jamie down with a hail of bullets. And at that moment I was like, well, he's not gonna kill Lily, so they had made a big deal out of the fact that the homeless guy was up front all season long, and I had kind of wondered and kind of suspected that the homeless guy might come in and rescue Lily. And honestly, it would have been more surprising if Kenton had choked Lily to death. Obviously, she's the main character, but, it was just so expected that she would get away there that I was kind of almost expecting them to have him kill her just to be unexpected. But no, of course, the homeless guy came in and killed Kenton. Now, what I did not expect at all, not for 1 second, was that the homeless guy, whose name I don't really remember, was actually a Russian operative. I didn't see hints of this all season long. Maybe some of you theorized this. If you did, show me tweets or I won't believe you. But I don't think it was necessarily something that was hinted at. I feel like as an operative, he was really in character, but it was a twist that made a lot of sense when you think about it, because I definitely feel that that is something that a Russian operative would do, and you would think that he would be so in character that you would never suspect him of being a Russian operative. It kind of reminds me of the show The Americans, which is a really great show, by the way, one of my favorites. So that happened. Jamie's gone. I kind of feel like killing off 2 love interests in one season of a show, or in one 8-episode limited series, seems a bit excessive, and I'm not really sure what the point of Jamie was, except maybe to make us have more time with Lily. I get that they couldn't really have Jamie go with her to Devs at the end of the episode. If he had still been alive, he obviously would have gone with her, because he was a very courageous young man and he wasn't going to let her go into the lion's den alone. But I feel like there might have been a more elegant solution than simply having him shot so many times, especially when everyone could see it coming, or at least I feel like everyone could see it coming. But they have really established the stakes in this world, and they are harsh. Now, Kenton is also dead, and I feel like we scarcely knew him. I really thought he was a pretty evil and scary character. I can't say he will be missed. That would be lying. But he was interesting, and I feel like taking him off the board leaves a lot of questions. But Cailee is coming into her own as a villain, because she intentionally, this episode, murdered Lyndon. Now, she technically didn't murder Lyndon, but she murdered Lyndon. I mean, she basically caused Lyndon to think that the only way she could prove her loyalty was to stand up on this tall dam And she says, if you do this, you're proving your faith in the system and we'll let you back into devs. But of course, Katie knew that in all the different versions of reality that existed, there was no version of reality in which Lyndon doesn't fall to her death, which they showed dozens of different times, that no matter what happens, Lyndon was always going to fall if she went over that rail. And she always goes over that rail. Now, it's funny because this causes this really weird loop where did Katie come to the dam and do this with Lyndon because she knew she would fall? Or did she do it because she saw herself doing it? What was her motivation here? Was she always going to do it? Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I'm looking forward to the next one. I thought it ended on a really great note. But we're really excited to see Lily going to devs at last, following through on what she's been predicted to do, even though she had initially been resistant to that, and knowing that she doesn't know that she's supposedly going to die if everything follows what the program has predicted. But to me, the one flaw with this is that, yes, there was a ton of tension put into this because we've been waiting for her to go to devs and to interact with the simulation all season long. But on the other hand, for a show that was built on this idea of devs, that she was going to go and interact with it and that she was going to come and engage with the simulation, that it's not happening until the last episode seems like a missed opportunity to me, because I feel like it was the most interesting aspect of the show. And to have your protagonist going through rather generic adventures where she's basically just investigating the murder of Sergei, which just seems incidental to the main themes of the season at this point. Like, she's done investigating Sergei to some extent. She's just going back to try to throw a wrench in their system. At some point, she stopped caring about him and started caring about what they were doing at this company. There were a lot of very, very obscure references this episode, and I didn't catch all of them, and I did some Wikipedia research, and I recommend you do the same. But, obviously Alex Garland has a lot of deep tracks here, and he's done a lot of research on making everything feel as detailed and specific as possible. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments section, and if you're interested in seeing future videos, my review of the finale, and reviews of upcoming shows such as Defending Jacob and Miss America, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of that. And if you liked what I had to say, give it a like. That's my review of Devs, Episode 7.